Hello, ladies. Welcome again to Women of Interest, the monthly video that's going to give you information on things that you think you know that you may not. It's really good. We're having a great time, and today we have with us Lindsay Hill of Lindsay Hill Designs, and she's got a lot to talk about, but let's start with this. Lindsay, nice to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me here. It's very exciting to be here.
Great. So let me, just in a short few sentences, tell people what you do, who you are.
Sure. I am the owner and principal creative director of Lindsay Hill Design. It's Lindsay Hill Design. People always say designs, but it's Lindsay Hill Design. We are a creative and strategic marketing communications firm. We specialize in branding. We brand basically anything. We brand people, places, and things. And we brand those things in various realms. We brand in digital, in print, and in environmental. And when I say environmental, I wish I could say it's all green, but it's not just green, it's actually three-dimensional. So like storefronts and facades and city buildings.
Okay.
And
you
spaces.
did Neptune's over in the North End?
I did Neptune.
Yeah.
Yes, from start to finish. That's a great, actually, pride and joy project of mine.
Oh, good for you. Great food, but you got to work hard to
You
get
sure
in there.
do.
It's like, oh my gosh, there's always a line.
I love it.
Oh my goodness. So, Lindsay, I know that you do that, but I also know from what I've heard that you work with a lot of college students and you mentor them. And I just wanted to talk to you. I mean, there's mentoring and then there's mentoring. Let's talk about you, how you
Sure.
bring the kids in and what you
I'm
do
very
with
lucky.
them.
I'm actually so lucky to have this opportunity. I work very closely with a few schools in Boston, primarily Mass College of Art and Design, Mass Art as they refer to it. Also with Leslie, with Northeastern, and with Bunker Hill Community College. And I have the great fortune of being a professional mentor, an adjunct professor at Mass College of Art and Design. I'm a teacher, adjunct professor. I teach a workshop at Mass Art. And I also am a portfolio review panelist at all those schools. So from that, I get to get the cream of the crop students to come work for my firm.
That's great.
Yeah.
And she has 2 kids. How does she fit that all in? That'll be our next episode with Lindsay. So Lindsay, I also know that you do a lot of community work, but then also with these students, I want to go back.
Yeah.
Because the way that you work with them and mentor them, it's not like you're doing an internship. What are you getting them to do that you think that others...
Good question.
Yeah.
Good question. So I have a very strong left and right brain personality. I'm not sure how many people think that they are left-brained or right-brained, but one of the workshops that I do teach, I just finished teaching a workshop at Fidelity to the UX department. It was actually a national workshop. They were Skyping people in from different Fidelity locations in North America. And I was hired to help the UX department, which basically consists of strategists, information architects, writers, content writers, and some designers. I was helping these UX employees figure out how to create better content within context. And that to me is kind of funny because people look at me and go, what is content within context? Like those 2 words are very short, they both begin with C, they sound very similar. But if you think about it, creating content within context, it's very important to understand what I do as a living, is to create a concise, clear message and get that message delivered in a specific medium and a specific message channel to a specific audience. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I was trying to help these UX designers bridge left and right brain thinking. So if you're a strategist, you're typically a left brain thinker. You're more of a critical thinker versus right brain thinkers are artists and they're designers. So bridging that gap between critical and design thinking is very important. I happen to be a math major in college and a business major and an art minor. Very left and right brained from my childhood, growing up with a father who's an architect, a grandmother who's an artist and a businesswoman, and my mother who's a businesswoman and an artist on the side. Okay. So I try to challenge my staff on a daily basis and these young students at Mass Art and at Leslie and Northeastern and Bunker Hill Community College to be creative thinkers, which is what they're studying typically, but to branch out further and to break outside of their comfort zone and to be a critical thinker and to really I push them to think outside of their comfort zone. And for example, my designer Hannah, who was with me for 2.5 years, she is an amazing designer, but she didn't want to write proposals. And I'm like, Hannah, come work with me and write a proposal because I want to prepare you. She was one of my students from Mass Art that I took from the portfolio review panel and helped launch her. So we basically, at Lindsay Design, are kind of a launch pad or a heating, a hot spot. What would you call that? A launch pad.
Yeah, launch pad. Absolutely.
For designers. So I bring these new, young, fresh talent brains into, and sponges. They want to learn as much as they can. And I, being a consummate teacher, want to be teaching all the time. So it's the best of both worlds. It's a win-win for everybody. I have all these young, beautiful, fresh minds that are, again, studying design. Although some of them, like my designer Kat right now, she's a critical thinker and she's a designer. And more interdisciplinary and more UX. So she's thinking about how the person gets down that pathway to find their answer and then design the product to fit that.
So, but you read the people, and you can see right brain, left brain, and then that's how you, a little bit, and then you engage.
Some of them are 75 one and 25 the other, versus I'm 50-50. What do you think you are? Critical or design?
Yeah. I don't know how designy I am.
Yeah.
So
it's like a bookkeeper. My bookkeeper Ingrid, she's pretty much not design savvy. She's definitely a critical thinker. So I'm trying to help my staff be prepared. The workshop I teach at Mass Art and Design is called Freelancer Workshop. And its main intention, its main goal is to have me help these young design students figure out how to make it in the real world. It's challenging.
And what you're saying, do you think that schools typically do this? Because I
don't know.
The classes might be more rote as opposed to...
Yeah, exactly, completely.
Yeah, exactly.
And I am definitely more hands-on. Let's go act out. Let's act out a scenario. Let's put together a challenge for a workshop exercise and have you deal with a bad client, a tough client issue. How would you respond? How do you react? How do you save the project? How do you save your face? Right?
Absolutely.
And, do it with grace. And how do you understand deep in your heart that the client's always right?
Cool. What else? Because we're talking to a community of women that, range from 18 to 118.
Nice.
Yay.
Yeah.
What do you think that you'd like to let them know that you do, that you might be able to help people with? Because our whole support, we're a support group. And
Absolutely. I love your goals. I'm so happy to be here collaborating with you, pooling women together to better ourselves, right? We should be promoting ourselves all the time. And I've thought about this. I knew you'd ask a question similar to this, so I've been thinking about it, and I have a couple key words and phrases that I'd like to share with you. I think it's very important for women to be confident, right? I mean, a lot of women lack confidence and don't. Like, be confident in yourselves. It's so important. Your body language, how you speak. If you're confident, you exude an energy, and you open up conversations. So be confident. Right? And if you lack confidence, one of the Mass Art students asked me in one of the workshops or one of the my teaching at my guest lecture about a month ago. She was a very sweet young girl and she was a little shy. And she said, "Can I ask you a question?" I said, "Of course." And she said, "How do you have such confidence? How do I gain confidence like you?" And I said, "Go to networking events, bring a friend, bring somebody with you, have somebody by your side while you're building your confidence. And if someone asks you a pointed question, you don't know the answer, look at your friend and say, what do you think about that? Give yourself a second to breathe, take it in, think about your answer, and be able to deliver your response in a clear, concise fashion."
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Another thing I'd like to share would be to collaborate. I'm not sure if the audience here is going out into the workforce for the first time, if they're women that are starting their own businesses, whatever it may be, or if you're women that are changing careers. Collaborate. Don't think that you have to be doing this on your own. There's so many things to do to collaborate. You can depend on your peers, your colleagues. There are support groups. There are organizations. There's SCORE, right? The National Professional Retired, I forget what SCORE stands for, but it's a wonderful group that they're retired professionals. They want to help. They're bored. They're retired. They want to help.
Yeah.
Count on them. So collaborate. Educate yourselves constantly. I find it so important to constantly educate yourself. I'm a huge advocate of blogs. I love reading and listening to blogs, and a couple that I would highly recommend would be On One. Do you know On One? With Angela Rye?
Oh, no.
Check it out.
Okay.
On One with Angela Rye. Amazing. My daughter turned me on to her. 21-year-old daughter, Sophie. TED Talks, of course,
yes,
is wonderful.
Yes.
And another one that I have recently turned on to, just recently, from a month or so ago, is the Nantucket Project.
I've seen that.
Amazing. I wish they would consider changing their name. It's misleading. It sounds very elitist and uppity, and it's not. It's an amazing, inspirational organization of people, collaborative thinkers that want to share how to change the world. They're game changers. It's wonderful, the Nantucket Project. So that's collaborate, and that's educate. Engage. Engage with others, engage with society, engage with groups. If you can find a group that you resonate with that can make a difference in the world, or in society, or in your community, or in your own home life, do it. And if you can't, don't be sitting there idle. Like, get out and do it. And if you can't find a group, create a group. I actually started an organization in Charlestown 20 years ago, because my daughter was 1, called the Charlestown Moms Association, the CMA. There were 7 of us founding members, and there are now over 1,500 women, and that's only because, and it would be exponentially higher, but women leave the city. So the membership is now 1,500, but it's been going for 20 years. And it's a group of women that support each other and support how to better the community, work with the schools, give scholarships to students, Harvest on the Vine fundraisers, and, you know, giving back to society.
You have touched on every point of which we created Herself360.com.
Good.
The engagement, the support, education, collaboration. That is exactly what made us start this.
Excellent.
And so I just love hearing this, because we're not out there. You know, it's something that we need. Let's get us out there. And this is really great. So as you say that, I go, oh my gosh, we are so on the right track.
Good.
This is exactly
where
we are.
I'm very proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
Keep going.
Thank you. And I appreciate your support.
Absolutely.
So, thanks so much for doing this with us.
Happy to, Renee.
Lindsay is going to be featured, and she'll be all over our site for a month. But in case you missed it, it will be in our archives. And you just go and look for Lindsay Hill Designs. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Renee.
Thank you.